Welcome to Maria's Inspirations. My name is Maria. I am also booking it with Maria.Ann94 on Instagram and TikTok as well. Today I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite books that I have been obsessed with, some for a while and then some just this year or this past year. The first book that I'm going to discuss with you about is The Book of Two Ways by Jodi Picoult. Jodi Picoult is one of my favorite authors. I love her so much. I love how she's not afraid to talk about controversial subjects. This book in particular, I just fell in love with it so much. There is a lot about like Egypt and the Egyptians and stuff in here. So a lot of research that goes into this book, but I actually loved it. And I loved learning about the history and everything. And there's like certain graphics that she also includes. But I'll go ahead and read part of the summary for you guys. Everything changes in a single moment for Dawn Edelston. She's on a plane when the flight attendant makes an announcement. Prepare for a crash landing. She braces herself as thoughts flash through her mind. The shocking thing is, the thoughts are not of her husband, but of a man she last saw 15 years ago, Wyatt Armstrong. Dawn miraculously survives the crash, but so do all the doubts that have suddenly been raised. She has led a good life. Back in Boston, there is her husband Brian, their beloved daughter, and her work as a death doula, in which she helps ease the transition between life and death for her clients. But somewhere in Egypt is Wyatt Armstrong, who works as an archaeologist unearthing ancient burial sites, a career that Dawn once studied for but was forced to abandon when life suddenly intervened. And now, when it seems that fate is offering her second chances, she is not as sure of the choice she once made. So it goes back and forth between like different times in her life too. So you get the past, the present, and I love the characters that are in this. It does end up on a twist, which I kind of predicted the twist, but I still really enjoyed it. Difficult Women is a collection of short stories that are all about women. It deals from like feminism. It does deal with miscarriage, child abuse, neglect, and sexual assault. So just so you're aware of those trigger warnings. I loved the short story version. I'm not really a short story person, but I loved reading this book, and it deals with a lot of issues that women have to go through on a day-to-day basis in our world today, unfortunately. So I highly recommend this book as well. Another one of hers that I enjoy is Hunger, which is her memoir. So you get her story through middle school all the way up until now, and there are trigger warnings for that book as well, and it's eating disorder, sexual assault, and depression and mental health stuff. So just to be aware, a lot of her books do have trigger warnings, but I do highly recommend her. The next book I'm going to talk to you today is Party of Two by Jasmine Guillory. I love all Jasmine Guillory's books, love them to death. I'm a huge romance reader, so I love romance books, and all her books are mostly romances. Actually, I think all of them are. Yeah, all of them are. But this is my favorite one out of all of her books so far. I'll just read you some of the back. Dating is the last thing on Olivia Munro's mind when she moves to LA to start her own law firm. But when she meets a gorgeous man at a hotel bar and they spend the entire night flirting, she discovers too late that he is none other than hotshot junior Senator Max Powell. Olivia has zero interest in dating a politician, but when a cake arrives at her office with the cutest message, she can't resist. It is chocolate cake after all. Olivia is surprised to find that Max is sweet, funny, and noble, not just some privileged white politician she assumed him to be. Because of Max's high-profile job, they start seeing each other secretly, which leads to clandestine dates, and silly disguises. When they finally go public, the intense and media scrutiny means people are now digging up her rocky past and criticizing her job and even her suitability as a trophy wife. Olivia knows what she has with Max is something special, but is it strong enough to survive the heat of the spotlight? So, a very romance book. Short, easy to read. No, well, not really short. It's like over 300 pages, but it's a really fast and easy read. So if you are a huge romance reader, I highly recommend this book and all of her others as well. They aren't like sequel books, but some of the characters do connect with each other in the books. So I highly recommend starting with The Wedding Date, which is the first one. A thriller book that I loved, but caught me off guard, which is really good for a thriller book, is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. This is the second book that I've read by Riley Sager. This book threw me through loops and loops and loops. I expected part of it, the twist, and then another twist came, and then another twist came. So I highly recommend this book. You guys have to tell me what you think of it, because the ending is a little crazy. I'll read you the summary for it. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Royce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom, is powerful, and a former model, Catherine, is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Casey saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other and the longer Casey watches, the more it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there's more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets can lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. Packed with sharp characters, psychological suspense, and gasp-worthy plot twists, Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake is the ultimate escapist read. No lake house required. There's a lot of twists, and I love this book. I highly recommend it to any thriller fans out there. I hope to read more of Riley Sager's books in the future, because everybody keeps telling me how better some of his other books are. So I do have Home Before Dark, I think it's called. I do have that book, so I'm planning to read that sometime this year, I hope. And then I'm excited for his new book that's coming out soon too. So I'm hopefully going to read that one as well. Another book that I read this year that is really, really popular is Things We Never Got Over. I read that on my Kindle. It's on Kindle Unlimited, as well as the sequel to it. And then her third one comes out in the fall, I think, too. But that book is about a girl named Naomi. She just recently left her fiance at the altar and ran away, basically cut all ties and everything. And she ended up in this small town to help her sister, basically, to be there for her sister and help her sister. But she ends up finding out that her sister basically stole all of her stuff in her car and left her niece with her that she had no idea about. She had never met her niece, didn't even know that she had a niece. So you get to see her take on the parenting role, attempt to do her best with it. The best part about this book, though, is Waylon, which is the dog in the book. I love dogs. Dogs are my favorite animals. I have one dog of my own. His name is Sammy. He's a Yorkie Terrier mix. He'll probably pop in and out every once in a while through these videos. But I highly recommend this book, Things We Never Got Over. Grumpy guy meets nice girl. Romance. That's basically what it is. And I really recommend everybody to read this book. Is The Hate You Give. I recommend this book so much. It has police brutality in it, race issues, family, and this book is also on, like, I think every single banned book that they have going around the US right now. So I cannot express everybody to read this book. And if you don't want to read the book, you can also see the movie, which the movie is actually really, really good, and it actually follows the book, like, very, very well. But I will read some of the summary. 16-year-old Star Carter moves between two worlds, the poor black neighborhood where she lives and the fancy suburban prep school she attends. The uneasy balance between these worlds is shattered when Star witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood best friend, Khalil, at the hands of a police officer. Khalil was unarmed. Soon after, Khalil's death is a national headline. Some are calling him a thug, maybe even a drug dealer and a gangbanger. Star's best friend at school suggests he may have had it coming. When it becomes clear the police have little interest in investigating the incident, protesters take to the streets and Star's neighborhood becomes a war zone. What everyone wants to know is what really went down that night, and the only person alive who can answer that is Star. But what Star does or does not say could destroy her community. It could also endanger her life. Angie Thomas's searing debut about an ordinary girl in extraordinary circumstances addresses issues of racism and police violence with intelligence, heart, and unflinching honesty. So it deals with a lot of controversial subjects, but I highly recommend reading this book. And that I am going to discuss are very, very popular books that you have probably seen all over Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, maybe even Facebook. A lot I see these books. And they're not by the same author, but I'm just going to do them together because of how popular they are. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover and Beach Reads by Emily Henry. I love these books. Love them. I'm definitely a Colleen Hoover fan right now. Love all of her books. Although Verity still makes me extremely angry. So angry. I read that book probably 2 years ago and I'm still thinking about Verity. I should have put that book in this movie because the ending to that, no, not for me. No, I need to know who did it or who did not do it. But anyways, It Ends With Us. I love this book. I think it shows a lot when it comes to domestic violence, and then having a kid and dealing with that relationship and everything. So trigger warning, it does have domestic violence in this book. So if you're triggered really easily, I probably wouldn't read this book. But I highly recommend it. It deals with romance. It's about, I'll just read the back for you guys. Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Riley, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Riley is assertive, stubborn, maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Raul's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Raul is threatened. With this bold and deeply personal novel, Colleen Hoover delivers a heart-wrenching story that breaks exciting new ground for her as a writer. It ends with us as an unforgettable tale of love that comes at the ultimate price. So highly recommend this book. There is a sequel that it's called It Starts With Us. Highly recommend that book as well. Loved it. I was not ready to say goodbye to these characters yet. It is going to be a movie. So I'm excited for the movie. I'm excited to watch the movie and see how they do the book. I know Colleen Hoover is like helping out with the script, so I hope that it does her book justice. I hope it does. It's really good. Okay, beach reads. Easy, simple romance to read. Love this book. This is my favorite book by Emily Henry so far. She does have another book coming out called Happy Place next month, I think. I think next month or the end of this month. I'm not sure. But I'm excited to read it. I hope that it's on Book of the Month, but we'll have to see. But I'm so excited to read it. So I will read the back of this book as well. Augustus Everest is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. When she pens a happily ever after, he kills off his entire cast. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing they have in common is that for the next 3 months they're living in a neighboring beach houses, broke and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one thing leads to another and they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy. In January, will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of a backwoods death cult. Obviously. Everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love. Really. So, opposites attract. Romance, easy read. Recommend for all the books that I wanted to share with you that are some of my favorite books that I have loved and probably will reread many times because I just love all of them so much. Here at my channel, I do want to discuss different books. Probably do wrap-up videos of books that I've read that month. Probably do some TBR videos too also. Also probably going to discuss about what it's like owning a small business. I own a small business called Maria's and Son. I sell candles and wax melts and stickers. I hope to add more products to it in the near future. Farmers markets are starting up this summer, so I'm so excited to do that. Again, I loved doing it last year and meeting all the different small businesses that are in the Midwest. So, and connecting with people and talking to people, so I love that. Hope to take you guys along with me, probably during a market sometime. I think that would be fun to do. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Once I figure out how to vlog and figure out how to edit videos and all that stuff. But thank you for watching my video, and I hope you guys have a good day.